Greetings everyone and welcome. It is midday here on September the 1st inside Ukraine, and I can tell you that today is a special day for Ukrainians. It is not only the first day of autumn, but it is the first day of school, and where kids are permitted to go publicly to school and not online closer to the fronts. It is a massive day that is happening throughout Ukraine. So remember those students, there will be gatherings, photos, all of those things happening, and we are believing for a safe day. Now, Jane and I still delivering aid, getting all that done. That is why you see different backgrounds. I'm unable to really do news updates, translate videos, voiceovers, but today a lot of news that I need to share with you that many are kind of glossing over and not paying attention to. So thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting. This update is all about the meetings that are happening in China, minus the statements of Merz Sevoidna. I'm sorry, today. I'm thinking in a different language. But today, Merz speaking very clearly, directly to Zelensky, but also to the world, and saying, listen, from what I am analyzing here in Germany, I see no end to this war in sight. From the actions that are coming from the United States, from the actions that are coming from Russia, from what Ukraine is doing and how they are growing and defending, for example, the Flamingo missiles, etc., plus what is happening in Asia right now in China, I see no end in sight, because for one side to end, it must come through either military or economic exhaustion, and we do not see that. He says really the only way that the war in Ukraine ends right now is if Ukraine completely capitulates. That is the only thing Russia wants. They can talk about root causes, they can talk about the language, the culture, anything else they want, but the bottom line is Russia wants a Ukrainian capitulation, and that is not going to happen. And yes, I'm following my notes here. Now, we need to jump to China, because this is the biggest news of the day. China, you have multiple nations there for the SCO, but the big picture is the meetings that are happening between Putin and Modi from India, Putin and Xi, Putin, Modi, and Xi together, and then Turkey is there, and Putin sitting directly across from the Turkish delegation and waxing eloquent on those guys. Now, typically, I would have all these videos voiced over, translated for you, but not possible with the situation that we're at right now. But I can tell you about them. First of all, they are praising each other. That is, and I want to stick with Putin, Modi, and Xi, that these three guys and their nations are on the same page. And what they had discussed even prior to the full-scale invasion, they were discussing it in 2020, 2021, 2019, early in 22, that there is a new world order coming. There will be less dependency on the West, less dependency on the dollar. The United States will not determine the future of the globe. And today, after 3 years and a half years of this full-scale war, these conversations have once again screamed to the top, and they are ripping it. Putin was thankful that Modi and Xi are on the same page. In fact, there was a photo of Putin and Modi sitting in Putin's car on the way to a meeting. Of course, that was a troll on Alaska. If you think any differently, then I'm sorry. I need to educate you about Russia and the Soviet Union mentality. That was a direct troll on Putin sitting in the Trumpmobile, the Beast. Now we have Modi sitting in Putin's car. And I remind you guys, security protocols. Nobody sits in the Beast but the president, Trump or whoever. Nobody sits in Putin's car but Putin. So these are direct things happening. Then Vladimir Putin made a direct statement to the entire delegation. He says, listen, the the crisis in Ukraine began in 2014 with a Western coup. This came from Europe, it came from America, and it came to destroy the work that we are attempting to do here in BRICS, in our SCO, in our relations with the nations that we consider friendly and cooperative, and we want to work together. And after the 2014 coup attempt, it was then Ukraine that attacked us in the Donbass. They sent tanks in, they sent airplanes in. You see, this narrative we're beginning to hear more and more and more over the last 3 or 4 weeks. And then his general statement concluded with him praising China and India for choosing and selecting the right side of history to be on. Now, then Peskov came out. He was making some statements. He is the spokesman for Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin. He says, listen, you just heard Putin in there. We're ready right now to end this war. But there are some things that must happen. A, the root causes must be resolved. There is no other option for that. Secondly, the European Union is becoming a horrible problem in this war because all they want to do is continue the war, warmonger, destroy us. It is the European Union and their actions that are forcing Ukraine's hand to continue fighting against us. The European Union has one goal in mind, and that is to destroy the relationships between Russia and Ukraine, between United States and Russia, and between Russia and all of these wonderful nations with whom we are meeting today. You can see the narrative happening. Then she met Modi, and this is crazy. Listen here. She praised Modi and says, you know, I'm thankful that our friendship is growing. Guys, it's just, these nations were close to being at war months ago, and still many people think that they are. But today, they're praising their growing friendship. And she said, due to the actions that are happening globally, hint, hint, Donald Trump in the United States, sanctions and tariffs, this is forcing our hand to realize that truly our neighbors are our friends. And we have realized that, and we will continue to grow these relationships. She then made another big statement, and we know this is huge, and we're just learning about it, really. We're just scratching the surface. But she told the delegation there, of course, including Russia and India, Turkey, and others, that we must be the coalition of the world that is leading in AI technology and development. There is no other alternative. It is now. It's not just the future. It is right now. And if we bond together as a formidable, strong coalition and a group and a friendship, not only can we defeat the input of Western economics on us, but we can lead the world in artificial intelligence. Putin then, he sits down with Modi after that meeting and thanks him for his friendship, thanks him for continuing to stand against the pressure that is coming from the United States and to stand with Russia, and that he is not bowing the knee to the ultimatum of those leading the world. All these subtle statements coming through very clear. Basically, thank you for standing with us and not bowing to the ultimatums of Donald Trump. Finally, just happening now, Putin sitting with Erdogan, sitting with the Turkish delegation, praising Turkey, yes, a NATO member, a EU wannabe, for their great relationships that is not souring, but is growing. And maybe someday in the future, Turkey can be the host of places that bring peace and stability to the world, and even this crisis in Ukraine. And Putin concluded by praising Erdogan and Turkey for their bilateral relations improvement, their economic development, their partnership in nuclear power and activity, and their hope for the future together. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we're at right now. This needed to be heard. This needs to be gotten out. And I thank you for sharing, liking, commenting. What are your thoughts on this? Are you seeing this in your news where you're at today? I'm out rolling, and we're seeing it. Now, the last thing is be on the lookout. We're going to begin dropping update videos confirming the donations that you have made and the drops and the continuation of that all around the front of Ukraine. You guys be blessed, and thank you. We appreciate you all. We'll be back soon.